Be me, name is Diana. 39, regional director for a consulting firm. Manage 4 offices across the Midwest, about 90 employees total. Been with this company for 12 years, started as junior consultant. Worked my way up through every level to get here. Always felt like I had to work twice as hard as men. To be heard, to be respected, to be taken seriously. Now that I'm in leadership, I want to do things differently. Create a culture where everyone's voice actually matters. Not just the loudest voices or the most senior people. Spent months researching democratic leadership models. Read about companies that use radical transparency, where every decision gets input from everyone affected. Seemed like the answer to hierarchical power structures. Decided to implement an anonymous feedback system, where anyone could comment on any decision I made. All feedback anonymous to protect people from retaliation, especially junior employees who might fear speaking up. Presented the idea to my leadership team. 5 direct reports, 3 men and 2 women. They looked skeptical when I explained it. Robert, my most senior manager, asked how it would work. I explained I'd send out surveys after every major decision. Anyone in our region could submit anonymous feedback. I'd read it all, incorporate it into future decisions. Create true bottom-up leadership instead of top-down. My operations manager Karen asked about scope. Would this be for strategic decisions or everything? Everything, I said, total transparency and inclusion. If I make a decision that affects people, they get input. My finance manager Todd looked concerned. What if the feedback is just complaints without solutions? Then we learn what's not working, I said. All voices are valid even if they're just expressing frustration. Rolled out the system the following week. Set up an anonymous survey platform. Sent company-wide email explaining the new approach. Any decision I make, people can submit feedback within 48 hours. All feedback read and considered for future decisions. First week, I implemented a new client billing process, designed to streamline invoicing and reduce errors. Sent out the feedback form. Got 12 responses. Most were supportive. A few suggestions for minor improvements. This felt great, people engaging constructively. Second week, I had to deny a team's request for remote Fridays. Client demands required office presence. Send out feedback form expecting some disappointment. Got 47 responses, almost all negative. You don't trust us to work from home. This shows you don't value work-life balance. You're out of touch with what employees need. Male leadership always prioritizes clients over people. That last one stung, because it felt personal. But I reminded myself all feedback is valid. People are expressing genuine frustration. Third week, I made a decision about project assignments. Moved some people between teams to balance workloads. Thought I was being strategic and fair. Feedback came in, and it was brutal. You don't understand our team dynamics. This feels arbitrary and disruptive. Nobody asked us what we wanted. You're treating us like chess pieces. Started to question whether I made the right call. Maybe I should have gotten more input first. Fourth week, I adjusted the PTO policy, giving people more flexibility in how they take time off. Thought this would be universally popular. Most feedback was positive, but 5 people said it didn't go far enough. Called it a band-aid on a systemic problem. Said real change would be unlimited PTO. Now I'm wondering if I should have pushed harder. Month 2, and I'm getting feedback on everything. How I run meetings, who I promote, which clients we take. Even things like office temperature and coffee quality. The anonymous platform has become a complaint box. For everything anyone doesn't like about anything. Start noticing patterns in the feedback. Certain phrases appearing across multiple submissions. Leadership is disconnected from reality. Decisions are made without understanding ground-level impact. We need actual change, not performative gestures. These feel coordinated somehow. But they're anonymous, so I can't address them directly. Can only try to improve based on the themes. Month 3, and I'm second-guessing every decision. Before announcing anything, I'm trying to anticipate feedback. imagining all the ways people might criticize, adjusting my plans to preempt the complaints. But no matter what I do, negative feedback keeps coming. I implement a professional development budget. Feedback says it's not enough money. I increase the budget. Feedback says the application process is too complicated. I simplify the process. Feedback says people don't have time to use it anyway. It's like trying to hit a moving target. My leadership team notices I'm struggling. Karen pulls me aside after a meeting. Diana, you're letting anonymous feedback paralyze you. You used to make decisions confidently. Now you're second-guessing everything. I'm trying to be responsive to concerns, I say. You're trying to please everyone, she responds. Which means pleasing no one and leading no one. That night, I review all the feedback from the past 3 months. Hundreds of comments, most anonymous, most critical. Even my good decisions get picked apart. The new billing system, someone says it's too complicated. The PTO flexibility, someone says it's unfair to managers. The professional development budget, someone says it's elitist. I realize there's no decision that everyone will support. But I'm treating every criticism as equally valid. Month 4, and my team's performance is slipping. Projects delayed because I'm overcorrecting based on feedback. Client relationships strained because I keep changing processes. Employee morale is weird. People seem emboldened to complain. But nobody seems happier. Robert comes to my office. We need to talk about the feedback system. What about it? I ask defensively. It's destroying your ability to lead. That's not fair. I'm trying to be inclusive. You're abdicating responsibility, he says. Leadership means making decisions that not everyone will like, then owning those decisions and defending them. You're letting anonymous voices veto everything. I tell him he doesn't understand. That hierarchical leadership is exactly what I'm trying to disrupt. He sighs, Diana, I've worked here for 20 years. Under 6 different directors. You were the best until you started this feedback thing. Now you're the most ineffective. That hits hard, but I'm not ready to hear it. Week later, I have to make a difficult decision. Laying off 3 underperforming consultants. Send out feedback form after announcing it. Immediate flood of responses. This is cruel and unnecessary. You're sacrificing people for profit. Leadership always protects itself. These were someone's colleagues, not just numbers. Some feedback questions whether they were really underperforming. Or if I just didn't like them personally. Now I'm doubting my own performance evaluations. Were they actually underperforming, or was I biased? Spend days reviewing their files again. Call an emergency meeting with HR. Ask them to verify my assessments were fair. They confirm the employees were bottom performers. But the damage is done. I've lost confidence. Month 5, and the anonymous feedback has become toxic. People are submitting personal attacks. Diana makes decisions to feel powerful. She doesn't actually care about employees. This is what happens when you promote someone too young. She's in over her head. Each comment hurts, even though they're anonymous. Can't defend myself because I don't know who to respond to. Can't address concerns because they won't identify themselves. Just have to read attacks and absorb them. My performance review comes up. Meeting with the VP, who oversees my region. He's reviewed our numbers, they're down. Client satisfaction dropping, employee retention issues. Project delivery delays, revenue below targets. Diana, what's going on? He asks. I explain the anonymous feedback system. How I'm trying to create more inclusive leadership. He listens, then asks a simple question. Is it working? Long pause. No, I finally admit. Then why are you still doing it? Because stopping feels like admitting failure. Like going back to authoritarian leadership. He leans forward. There's a difference between authoritarian and decisive. You can listen to input without letting it paralyze you. You can consider perspectives without treating all equally valid. You're a regional director. You have to direct. That's the job. I leave feeling shaken. Spend the weekend reviewing everything. All the decisions I've delayed. All the times I changed course based on feedback. All the confidence I've lost. realized that anonymous feedback stripped away accountability, both mine and theirs. I'm not accountable for decisions because I'm always deferring. They're not accountable for feedback because they're anonymous. Monday morning, I send out company-wide email. After careful consideration, I'm ending the anonymous feedback system. Effective immediately. Moving forward, feedback and concerns should be raised directly, through appropriate channels with names attached. I'll make decisions based on all available information, but I'll own those decisions rather than crowdsourcing them. The response is interesting. Some people are relieved. Thank you, the anonymous system was getting abused. Others are angry. You're silencing voices that made you uncomfortable. This is what happens when leadership faces accountability. But most people don't respond at all. Just go back to work. First major decision without soliciting anonymous feedback. Implementing a new project management system. I research options, consult with relevant stakeholders. Make a decision and announce it. No survey, no feedback form. Just here's what we're doing and why. Get a few questions through normal channels. Answer them directly. Adjust implementation slightly. But I don't second-guess the core decision. System rolls out successfully. Within a month, things start stabilizing. My confidence returning. Projects moving forward because I'm making decisions. Team seems relieved to have clear direction again. Robert comments that it's like having the old Diana back, the one who led instead of polling. Karen says people respect decisive leadership, even when they disagree with specific choices. Month 7, 2 months after ending anonymous feedback. Our numbers are recovering. Client satisfaction improving. Project delivery back on track. Still not perfect, but trending right direction. I get a message through proper channels from one of the junior consultants, asking if we can talk about workload distribution. We meet face to face. She explains her concerns. I listen, ask questions, we problem solve together. Find a solution that works. This is what feedback should look like. Direct, accountable, solution-oriented. Not anonymous complaints hoping someone else fixes it. Month 9, and I'm invited to speak at a leadership conference about inclusive management and democratic leadership. Prepare my remarks and decide to be honest. Tell the whole story of the anonymous feedback system, how it was designed to amplify marginalized voices, how it actually paralyzed decision-making, how it removed accountability on both sides, how ending it improved everything. During Q&A, someone challenges me. Sounds like you're just uncomfortable with criticism. No, I respond, I'm uncomfortable with anonymous accountability. Criticism is valuable when it's direct and constructive. Anonymous complaints are just noise. Another person asks if I'm saying employee input doesn't matter. Of course it matters, I say. But leadership means making informed decisions, not conducting polls on everything. Input is valuable, abdication is not. The audience response is mixed. Some people nodding in agreement, others looking skeptical. But several come up afterward to thank me, say they've struggled with similar systems. Felt pressure to be radically transparent, at the cost of being effective. Year later, my region is thriving. Best numbers in the company. Lowest turnover, highest client satisfaction. I've found a balance. I listen to input through proper channels. Consider perspectives and adjust when it makes sense. But I make decisions and own them. Don't hide behind anonymous consensus. Still do anonymous surveys twice a year for specific topics like workplace satisfaction, but not for operational decisions, and definitely not as a veto over leadership. My VP comments during annual review. You've really grown into this role. The first 6 months were rough, but you figured it out. What did you learn? He asks. That feedback is valuable, but not all feedback is equal. That anonymous input removes accountability. That leadership requires making unpopular decisions. And that trying to please everyone guarantees pleasing no one. He nods. That's what separates managers from leaders. Managers try to make everyone happy. Leaders make the right call even when it's hard. I save that distinction. Think about it when facing difficult choices. Anyway, that's my story about requiring anonymous feedback on everything and watching leadership break down. Not because listening is wrong, but because anonymous, unlimited feedback isn't accountability, it's abdication. Real leadership means making decisions, owning outcomes, and facing criticism directly, not hiding behind anonymous surveys.